top right there. So I was illuminated, but they weren't. And when I stepped out on the porch and acknowledged who I was, when he said, Tim, when I stepped out, it sounded like tap dancers all around me. Tick, 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 and all cocked back on me. Freeze, motherfucker. That was it. They come up, slammed me down on the damn porch, and one of them fuckers put foot on my goddamn neck like that to hold me down. I said, you better get your goddamn boot off my neck. I was pissed off. Some guy came up, must have been a senior dude. He was.
So they took you from the Bahamas?
No, I told you I came back to Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
You know, I ran out of money and shit, kind of running short, so fuck it, I flew them back and opened me up a business in Fort Lauderdale. And I told you the girl spotted me, and then she turned me in. But one of the senior cops, undercover cops, come up and said, "Get your foot off of his neck, set him up, take them cuffs off of him," and he got me set up and everything. And he says, called me Mr. Wagner. I said, "That's not my name." I said, "I'm Timothy Mark McManama." You know, and so they still wasn't sure who the fuck I was because I only had some girl saying this shit. So they didn't know, but they arrested me anyway, carried me in, and the detective said, "We got to figure out who you are and all that." Of course, they fingerprinted me, did all this. Next morning, I'm in court, and it's one of the judges that know me because I serviced his courthouse. You know, and he looks at me, I look at him, and he asked me, he says, "Are you Daniel Wagner?" I said, "No, Your Honor." I said, "I'm Timothy Mark McManama." He looked at the detective. He said, "I'm going to give you 24 hours to prove to me who this man is, or I'm letting him go." But no, I let, because he knows I've been coming down there for over a year into his courthouse, you know. Well, it wasn't no problem because they wired up here to Richmond, and the cops went right to Tim's house. And Tim answered the door, and they says, "Let me see your ID and all this shit," and they showed it to him. And he said, "Well, you are Timothy Mark McManama, right?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." He knew I was using his name and shit. He didn't admit to knowing it, you know. He says, "I don't know who the fuck is using my shit." And he says, "But I'm here," you know. And that was all fine and dandy. So they got my mugshot, my fingerprints, and everything from Richmond, and they faxed them down there. And the next morning, we're back in front of that judge. They threw all that up in front of the judge, and then the judge knew I was lying like hell. So he said, "Well," he said, "you want to waive extradition?" I said, "Yep. Let's just get it over with." So I come on up here. They want to interrogate me. I said, "Hey, you motherfuckers leave me alone. Take me right to the penitentiary, motherfucker." I said, "I ain't got nothing to say to you about any goddamn thing. Nothing." So they couldn't fuck with me. So they turned me and put me back in the pen. And that's the way that went. And